Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we will be ranking my 3 favorite YA series, and I'll be explaining what they're about in case anyone just wants to read them or know anything more of it. And you might have heard of these on Book Talk. Well, 2 of them. One of them is kind of pretty, like, back then it was really popular series.
Don't close your eyes to get away. Just bang my line and I'll arrange it. Beautiful girl, you stainless.
Okay, the first series I will be starting with is the longest series on the list, the Shatter Me series. So the Shatter Me series is basically a 3-part trilogy with an additional 3-part trilogy, and then a bunch, like 4 novellas. I'm not sure about my fact. The Shatter Me series revolves around the main character named Juliet and her love interest, which is Aaron Warner and Adam Kent. It mainly revolves around Juliet and Aaron though, and there are side characters, and then there's like parts of the series where there's like point of views of Kenji, which is the best friend of Juliet. Well, I'll just explain the first book since it is a series. Basically, Juliet is locked up in a cemetery because she has these powers where when she touches someone, she instantly kills them. So the book revolves around her and trying to like find like her place in the world, which is also in a dystopian setting. There's like a powerful government ruling everyone. The place she's in, like the area, is called Sector 45, which Aaron is the leader of that sector. And the reason why, you will find out if you read the book. I don't want to spoil. Julia, she has to learn how to deal with her powers because she has went through a lot of traumatic experiences due to her powers. How the series is in order from 1 to 6. Okay, there's the 3 regular books: Shatter Me, Unravel Me, and Ignite Me, which are the 3 main books in the series, and the other 3 are just like continuous parts of the series. You don't have to read it, but I highly recommend it because it explains a lot more that happened in the first 3 books, and it's really good, and like the action, the plot building is just amazing. I would just be talking about the 6 main books, and the novellas are just like about like different point of views of the characters. So first off is Shatter Me. First of all, the covers, I don't care what anyone says, I love the covers. It's an eye, but I really do enjoy the covers. I saw this TikTok recently, and it was talking about how the old name for the Shatter Me series was the Juliet Chronicles. I just cannot forget that. It won't come out of my mind. But the author changed it. The covers were very bad back then, but now they're really good. I actually enjoy the covers. A lot of people hate on it and say they're ugly, but me, I feel like it goes with the theme. So the first book, Shatter Me, just starts off the Shatter Me series. This one I would rate out of like 5. I think I would rate it a 4 because it was there to like build up the background knowledge of Juliet, which is the main character, and like Warner. There wasn't really much background on Warner, but we can see like he's a bad person in this book, and Adam is just there, which is like the second love interest. In the first 2 books, he's the second love interest. But definitely this book it wasn't bad, but it was okay. So yeah, definitely it was kind of hard to get through this book. I'm not gonna lie, but it gets better around like halfway through the book, and I was just sitting there, and then I picked up Unravel Me, which is the second book. And this book, I would actually rate it a 4.5 out of 5. It wasn't a 5, but it was right almost there out of 5. This book explains so much about Aaron's background, and it just builds up Aaron's like character development, and absolutely I love this book, Unravel Me. It's so like, you guys, as you can see, my cover is really bad. My book is bad. It went through a lot, and I actually read this book. It took me 3 months to read for some reason. I think I got into a book slump, but definitely this book is so good. Next book is Ignite Me, which is the last book in the 3 trilogy, the first trilogy. Can I just say, this was a 5 out of 5 read. This book set the stage for the next 3 books and the novellas. But this book, 5 out of motherfucking 5. So I'm just gonna rank them: Ignite Me, Unravel Me, and then Shatter Me. The whole trilogy is a 5. Next, continuing on, is Restore Me. And this is actually the first book that I started tabbing I never used to tab, as you can see. Restore Me was actually, this was the second book I tabbed. The first book I tabbed was The Love Hypothesis, which I will probably bring up in the future, but the tabbing was atrocious. But now I got the hang of the tabbing, as you can see, and this book is amazing. It started the next trilogy, the second trilogy, with a bang. I finished this book and I ran to Define Me because this book was really good. Then after Restore Me is Define Me, which I don't really have a lot of tabs for compared to Restore Me, but Define Me is so good. It gives more background about Juliet and about Aaron, and if you read it, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Also, I just want to go back to Unravel Me. I hate Adam in this book. The hate I have for Adam in this book, you won't understand until you read it. Adam, once again, is the second love interest. I understand why he's not a love interest in Ignite Me anymore, because after what he pulled in here, absolutely not. Back to Define Me. Define Me is really good. It's pretty short, I would say, but I absolutely recommend this. Mafi ate with this one. She knew what she was doing with this book. Which set the stage for the last book in the trilogy, Ignite Me, which I'm still reading. But as you can see, I read half of it. I just want to say, Ignite Me isn't my favorite in this trilogy, but yeah. So I will continue reading this, and I guys will let you know when I finish it. I will post a video about my ratings on Ignite Me, but so far it's out of 3. This trilogy as a whole, I rated a 4 because I didn't finish Ignite Me yet, and if I do, I'll decide if it's a 5. But the way I would rate it is Define Me first, then Restore Me, and then Ignite Me, because Define Me is honestly, like, I think Define Me is my favorite out of this trilogy, but also the other trilogy, Ignite Me and Define Me. Those are definitely my favorite 2 books of this series, and I haven't read the novellas yet, but I'm hoping to do so. The next series is the Cruel Prince series. The Cruel Prince series is a trilogy which focuses on the main character, Jude Dorate. I don't know how to say her last name. I think it's Dorate, but her and Cardin, which is the love interest, as well as the male lead. Juliet is a human being living in Elfham, which is a world of like magic and fae, and she has to learn how to deal with living in that world and finding her place in that world as well. It's a high fantasy book. Romance is the side plot. Jude is also a twin. Jude's parents are killed by her adoptive father, which is one of the most powerful people in Elfham. So she goes to Elfham, her and her twin, and her older sister, which is the actual daughter of their adoptive father. So they go to live in Elfham, and she has to go through all these struggles of being a human in a world where it's phase, and she just has to start learning how to survive and be herself, as well as like earn power in that world. She doesn't really enjoy the human world. She prefers Elfham. And Cardin is as even though he is the love interest, at first he was really the enemy of Jude. We go through a lot of character development for Cardin. You may be wondering why I only have 2 of the 3 books. So I didn't really have money when I was reading this book. I was like starting to get into reading like fantasy again, and at that time I really didn't have money to be buying a lot of books. And I finished The Cruel Prince, and I just really needed The Wicked King, which is the second book. I'll just put it up here. I needed to read The Wicked King really bad because the ending of The Cruel Prince was so good, and I couldn't afford it, so I just read it on ebook. So I think I will be buying the second book to continue like the set, because the physical set, I really do need The Wicked King. But as of right now, I don't know when I'm ordering it until I get my shelf, which I will be doing a video on when I get my shelf. The Cruel Prince series. Let me start off saying this is not a romance series. Book Talk has been lying to you guys. Yes, there is romance, but romance is a subplot. This is a series about like political like conflict, and it's high fantasy, which means there's a lot of political aspect. There's also a lot of like, I love fake fantasy, so I picked up The Cruel Prince, and I walked into this book not knowing what was gonna happen. Definitely in the first book, why I wouldn't consider this romance, because in the first book, Cardin was not a love interest. He was an enemy. He was terrible in this book, and if you read it, you understand. And every time I mention Cardan, I'm like, oh, he's my book boy, he's my book boy. I don't mean Cruel Prince Cardan. I mean the Wicked King and Queen of Nothing Cardan. Okay? And Judith, my wife, she is the most badass female character I've ever read about. Her wrongs are her rights. Her wrongs are her rights, and I love her. So the Wicked King, 5 out of 5. Book made me rant. The ending, let me tell you something. Holly Black knows what she was doing with the endings of the Cruel Prince and the Wicked King. And by the way, this is the Wicked King, and that's the cover. She knew what she was doing with those endings, because when I finished the Cruel Prince, I ran to the Wicked King, and when I finished the Wicked King, I ran to the Queen of Nothing. And this book, oh my god, look at the tabs. It matches like the cover. It's so pretty. I love this book so much. The Queen is Nothing. It's 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5. Wicked King, 5 out of 5. Whole series, 10 out of 10. Wait, no, 10 out of 5. Yeah. Cruel Prince series, recommend this 100 times over. But if you don't like high fantasy, do not read it. But if you want to read it and try it out, I definitely recommend you try it out. If you're expecting romance, you're gonna have to wait till like the second book ish. Mostly the third book. I recommend it if you're a high fantasy lover. And the next series is the Hunger Games series. The Hunger Games series is a trilogy as well. It is one of the most popular YA books. It's also dystopian. The main character, Katniss Everdeen, her sister Prim is picked, and because her sister is picked, she doesn't want her 12-year-old sister to go on to fight the Hunger Games. Districts get one boy and one girl. They're called tributes, and they have to fight to the death, and only one of them can live to earn glory, like food and stuff for their sector. But they're in District 12, which is most unlikely district to win. But Katniss' sister gets picked. She volunteers, which is the first person in her district to volunteer, because she doesn't want her sister to die. We go through this journey of her in the Hunger Games trying to survive as a result of like protecting her sister. And we meet love interest / male character, Peter Mellor. Peter and her have to like deal with living in the Hunger Games. So that is the first book, and as we continue throughout the books, we see like the way how dystopian societies are falling, like corrupt government, which is the capital, and none of the people in the capital ever fight in the Hunger Games. So we also see like the fight of power, the dystopian like governments hidden as utopias, and the fight of survival, family, love series is honestly one of the greatest series I've ever read. It's so good. So definitely the Hunger Games series has been that series that has been with me since I was young. This series has made me who I am. Suzanne Collins, I love you. If Suzanne Collins, if you see this, please, I bless you. Bless your heart, girl, for writing this. I don't know how you came up with this good series. It's so good. The best book in this series is definitely Catching Fire and Mockingjay. The Hunger Games does set a lot of it sets the stage for Catching Fire and Mockingjay. And that's what I love the Hunger Games about. Katniss Everdeen, I love you. Who I do hate, Gale. I hate Gale. And if you watch Mockingjay or read it, you understand why I don't like Gale. Definitely this series has hit home multiple times. I forgot to rate the series, but I rate it a 5 out of 5. The next series is the Divergent series, but I had not finished the series. I did read Divergent though. I'm on my way to Insurgent and Allegiant, and 4 has a book. I did not know that. So just so you know, I will be reading that and eating it up, because yes, I do love the Divergent series. I will not be talking about it though here, because I only watched the movies, so I didn't start the Divergent series. When I do, I will be talking about it. And that is it for today's video. Thank you for watching. And all I say is go read this now. Thank you.
All I'm drinking is champagne. All you want